Quadeca, you may have heard of him as a YouTube rapper or remember him from the time he had beef with KSI. I don't know how that happened honestly, but nowadays Quadeca is a well-established artist with his own unique sound and definitely cannot be considered a YouTube rapper. Not even a rapper, honestly. Maybe you can consider some of his stuff as experimental hip-hop, but yeah, quite a change from corny YouTube raps, isn't it? I'm gonna talk about how his sound developed from what it used to be to what it is now. I'm gonna cover it in a few segments. First is gonna be the mixtape era, then we have the voice memos, KSI beef era, then we have From Me to You era, then we have a Didn't Mean to Haunt You era, and lastly the Scrapyard era. Now, before we get to the current day, let's go back in time. Quadeca has done raps before on his YouTube. If you didn't know, this man made FIFA pack openings. This is basically just Quadeca trying to be one of those fast rappers. Yeah, it's quite a bit cringe and corny honestly. This is taken down from his YouTube along with his other mixtapes, which I will talk about later. But Work in Progress is basically him trying too hard to be a good rapper and impress the white folks who really have no idea about hip-hop by doing the quick rapping thing. Biggest track off of this project is We Music Fire, which is probably the best song on the project. Doesn't really say much though. I think it blew up because of the instrumental being the Wii Games music remix. Overall poor mixing though, cringe lyrics, and it's trying way too hard and it's pretentious. After this we have Nostalgia for the Now. Still, he's a part-time musician here, I'd say. His main thing is still YouTube at this point, and this is pretty much the same thing as Work in Progress, although I will say Nostalgia for the Now is quite a bit better due to the better instrumental choices. A bit more ambient and chill. I think he went for a calmer vibe while improving his rapping slightly. Still though, the mixing is quite poor, and yeah, the lyrics are just as good as on the first project. So not very good. The biggest song on this project is You Can't Rap, which has a nice sample, but yeah, that's about it. From the name you can tell what the song is about and what kind of energy Quadeca is gonna come in with. Not great. Then in 2017 we have Bad Internet Rapper, and this is still part-time music Quadeca type of thing, although he's starting to transition more into an artist. But as the name of this project would suggest, that's exactly what he is at this point. Although I will say a lot of people were doing this sound back in 2017 and 2018 and that era basically, and this isn't an awful rendition. I think he does improve as the rapping is a bit better on here, and also the mixing has generally improved. All of his music is self-produced if I'm not wrong, and you can see him getting better and better at it with these projects. I think this is far from a good project, but hey, it's listenable. Kinda, I guess. 2017 again, we have Out of Order, and we're getting really close to a certain event in Quadeca's life. There's a couple of songs here that I think are actually like listenable. They're alright at best, but they're listenable, so it's an improvement. At this point he was even getting with some beefs with other YouTube rappers, so definitely far from being treated as a well-respected artist. He's still a YouTube rapper and YouTuber at this point. And you know, KSI thought the same thing. 2018, November. KSI versus Quadeca. What a timeline. KSI on a podcast was basically going on about how he's the greatest rapper of all time or something else. He's really delusional. And he started talking about YouTube rappers and how Quadeca was not as good as him and that he wasn't good and that, you know, he's just a fan of him, he's not as popular as him, going on a whole ego trip. Quadeca responded with a diss track. That was kind of the thing to do back in the day. People were doing diss tracks at the time. And it absolutely skyrocketed his career. He absolutely destroyed KSI in this drama, okay? Like, the diss track is actually kind of good, and KSI's response was not very good. But let's move on from that, okay? It's not really that important when it comes to the evolution of Quadeca's sound. Although I think this event may have provoked him to transition into something a little more, which we're gonna get into. Now, it had been over a year since the project of his release, so that would lead us to believe that he's been honing in on his craft. He dropped some songs as singles during this era, and they were definitely a cut above the rest of his discography, and with the help of the KSI drama situation, they did decent numbers too. And all the way in 2019 is when Quadeca released Voice Memos, and in my opinion, this project started the rise of Quadeca as an artist and not as a YouTube rapper. Although I wouldn't say this project changed his identity, it was a step in the right direction. Voice Memos has way more content than any of his previous music, and way more content than any other YouTube rapper who had been releasing music at the time. Yes, definitely not an experimental project or anything, but we see a step up in production. Still, this is self-produced. Remember that, because he keeps releasing music, his production keeps getting better and better. And oh boy, we're gonna get to how good it is now in the present day. Let's talk about voice memos though. This is a bit of a look in Quadeca's mind, a more in-depth one compared to his previous music, while actually sounding decent. From the intro Ego Death, you can tell what the song is about from the title, but you can tell this is a step up in quality as well. The flow switches, the better vocals from him, not as cringe lyrics, a better instrumental. This is genuinely a decent 2019 rap song with trap drums. Although not everything sounds great, there's a lot of effort put into it, and you can tell. A Dream I Can't Remember is a track that kinda gave me hope in Quadeca when I first listened to it. It made me realize that this guy may actually have vision for his music beyond being just a YouTube rapper. This is quite a big sounding, emotionally heavy interlude with mostly singing from Quadeca. I still think to this day, aside from the rap verse, this actually sounds good. And yes, there's a great deal of those trap bangers on here and him sounding more like a YouTube rapper, like Thank You Next, War, Aha, but some great stuff too. The Man on My Left Shoulder I think people consider to be the best song on this project, and I'd maybe agree. It's probably his best song up to this point as well. Either that or These Days, the outro of Voice Memos. But Man on My Left Shoulder is genuinely an interesting track, and I still find enjoyment to it till this day. With his next album, Quadeca would delay it 20 million times. I mean, come on, you know how annoying this was if you were a Quadeca fan at this point. That project dropped in 2021, a whole 2 years after Voice Memos. At this point, Quadeca had kind of transitioned into a full-time artist. He had dropped 3 singles before releasing this album to give people a bit of a taste. First being Where'd You Go. I don't think the song is great honestly, but then we have his best song to date at this point. Alone Together. A song with progression, it's quite experimental as well, it has interesting production elements and cool vocal effects. Just a complete step up from what he was doing before, and here we really start to see Quadeca come into his own and turn into a proper artist. A week before releasing From Me to You, he released a track which kinda sent people into a frenzy, including me, Sisyphus. And I mean, you know how I praised Alone Together? Yeah, no, this is miles better than Alone Together. The production is crispy clean, there is rapping verses, but guess what? It's not cringe or corny. It actually sounds good, and he has good content, has good song structure, well thought out lyrics, crispy clean production, he has progression to the track. Even to this day, this track has aged so well, and the outro of it is so good. The drums are so intense and hard hitting. So at this point, people are taking a look at him like, yo, okay, someone's cooking here. And there was so much excitement for this album, not only from his fans, but also from the people who are interested in the music scene. For example, Fantano did a review on it, plenty of other people covered it as well, and it received a lot of ratings on music rating sites. And to talk about the actual album, it was received very well by his fans and relatively decent reception from critics and everyone else. While yes, it does have great moments and songs, has a well thought out concept, it also had some inconsistencies. Some of the poor lyricism and corniness, if you could say, is still present on a few tracks, and it's maybe a little bit bloated, but aside from that, this is honestly a solid project. As I said, it has a concept, and I'd say this definitely falls into experimental hip-hop now. It's not just something basic. He has some of his best songs on here like Sisyphus, Alone Together, Candles on Fire. I mean, just listen to that instrumental. Did you expect something like this from Quadeca? Burning Bridges / Long Day is a track with 2 halves, both being great, and this intro, man, oh my god. Stuff that sounded like this on this project, ambient, emotionally heavy, kinda let me know that, okay, this guy has some serious potential, and there's a lot of stuff sounding like this on this album. Since Voice Memos, Quadeca had been on my radar, but this even further made me put my money on him making amazing music one day. And yes, I was a little mad that the potential on From Me to You wasn't fully realized. At least it was potential there, it was present, with some great moments and some great sounding tracks. It's All a Game is personally, in my opinion, the most underrated track from this project. I mean, just listen to this and compare it to something from his work from the mixtape. You wouldn't be able to tell that it's the same artist. It is so crazy. And then we move on to the project I think really pushed Quadeca as an artist and kind of vanished the image of him being a YouTube rapper. And of course, I'm talking about I Didn't Mean to Haunt You. This project was highly anticipated by his fans, and of course he took his time with it, okay? However, I think most people would agree that it was worth the wait. Definitely. The first single to release from it was Born Yesterday, and wow, you know the reaction people had when Sisyphus dropped? Yeah, yeah, it was that all over again. I mean, this track was by far the most complex, most interesting, coolest sounding track that he had made at this point. It has good vision behind it, it has cool visuals, it's part of a concept. Yes, I Didn't Mean to Haunt You is a concept album from Quadeca. This is wild what this man has done with his craft. He dropped another single after this called Tell Me a Joke, which I think people would agree is just as good as Born Yesterday. Another progressive, heavy-hitting, emotional track from Quadeca with actually interesting lyrics and an idea to it. The album comes out November 10th, 2022, and pretty much everyone goes crazy. By far Quadeca's best work, and it's not even close. Blows everything out of the water that he had made before. I Didn't Mean to Haunt You has its own sound. It is folkatronica, art pop, glitch pop. It's just very experimental, okay? It had a clear concept to it, which we had seen loosely from Quadeca before, but on this project he fully commits to it. And I feel like here he just decided, okay, I'm good enough, my production has gotten amazing at this point, I'm just gonna go for it and make something completely left field. And it worked out because this project is amazing. The concept is that this project is from a perspective of someone who has passed away, a ghost. It takes some interesting turns in the story and it's honestly quite entertaining. And it also doesn't seem pretentious. We have Quadeca's best songs on here. I would start naming off tracks, but I feel like the whole thing is just amazing. From the intro, Sorry for Dying, which sets a great tone, to the two singles, to House Settling, which has great storytelling and a turn in the plot, and also a feature from Danny Brown on a Quadeca song, Not, which sounds like an experimental industrial hip-hop track, and then we also have Fantasy World, which is another really cool twist in the story of the album. This album completely transformed Quadeca's image from a YouTube rapper to an actual artist. It was received really well by his fans and people from the outside, and made people start looking at Quadeca a bit more seriously. It got covered by music reviewers such as Anthony Fantano, who gave it a 7, and look, people are mad at him for giving it a 7, so you can tell how much people liked it. And it got plenty of positive ratings and reviews on music reviewing sites and on social media. So the question is, where does he go from here? People are strapped in now and he's gained a lot of new fans. And he just so happens to drop his best project in my opinion, after. Scrapyard is a collection of songs that shows off his versatility, and I honestly think it has his best moments in songs. There are some loose ideas and concepts on here, but he's definitely not as committed to it as he was on I Didn't Mean to Haunt You. But wow, this is maybe his most consistent track list. It's got great variety, which I love, has quite sad songs and more simple songs, something like Guide Dog and Way Too Many Friends. It has really weird sounding tracks like Being Yourself. It has hard hitting tracks like Guess Who and Even If I Tried. And can we talk about that outro, Texas Blue? Oh my god, Song of the Year alert, Song of the Year alert. And people are loving this project. Fantano gave it a 9, which is crazy, but I also agree with him. And yeah, I'm just really interested to see where Quadeca is gonna go next, and I'm really proud of him, weirdly. I've known this guy since the FIFA days, so seeing how he's progressed as an artist fills my heart up a little bit. He's an artist now, not a YouTube rapper, not some wannabe musician, not someone who makes pretentious music to try to appeal to a more sophisticated audience. No, he is a straight up artist who takes his art very seriously and keeps taking leaps in his production, ideas, execution of ideas, and creativity. And that'll be it for this video. Tell me what you guys think. If you liked it, please leave a like and also make sure you subscribe. That will mean so much to me, as it'll help push my video and my channel into the YouTube algorithm. But yeah, I guess I'll see you guys next time. Peace!